Hello, hello, and welcome to a live version of the Making a Marketer podcast. I'm doing this through StreamYard on Facebook. This is episode 47. I'm your host, Megan Powers. I forget to say that on the lives because my name's on the screen, so make sure to say that. I am with Powers of Marketing, and my guest today is Juntae DeLane. Welcome, Juntae. How are you?
I'm doing well, Megan. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm
Awesome.
excited to
I'm
be
excited to be here.
I'm involved. I'm excited to be involved with your major project. I'm not even call it a project, but me being the events person too, whether it's online or in person, events are events. And so I'm excited to talk with you about that. I'm going to read your bio here in a sec, but I do want to say that this show is sponsored by Powers of Marketing, and we provide strategic communication, consulting, and execution for small to medium-sized businesses, and meetings and events is my primary vertical, but not exclusively. So, and I will be, and I don't want to, spoil the surprise, but I'll be speaking at the Digital Branding Summit about events. And so I want to welcome anyone who's on with us live. Hi, Jen Cole. She said, "Hey, and happy Tuesday, friends." Hey. Thank you for being on. Anyone who is on live, we'll take any of your questions. I'm going to drop links in for the conference and for my session in particular as we talk about it. But I want to give Juntae's brief bio. He is a digital branding evangelist, keynote speaker, blogger, and innovator. He is the founder of the Digital Branding Institute, a global hub for digital branding resources, education, and training. He's the senior digital brand manager for the University of California. Fight on, is that the?
Right? Southern California.
Yeah. Fight on, that's right. Sorry. I was like doing
that was the rock on. This is the fight on.
And if you're listening, you totally missed that. I was trying to give the hands, the like whatever hand signal. The fight on. I failed miserably. Where he leads a team responsible for developing, managing, and measuring digital marketing initiatives. He's also the principal consultant and strategist for Juntae DeLane, a digital branding consultancy that helps organizations build a strong digital brand. And via that, he is founded this Digital Branding Summit that's coming up in a few weeks. So we're less than 3 weeks out. Yep. It's going to be January 27th to the 31st. Tell us about the summit as a whole, and I'm sure what motivated you to put it on.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on, Megan, and I'm glad to have you as a part of our awesome lineup of speakers for the Digital Branding Summit. So essentially, the Digital Branding Summit is something that is produced by the Digital Branding Institute. And just a quick background story on that. I started the Digital Branding Institute as essentially a brain dump of all the content that I was learning, researching, and so on. I wanted to get my PhD back in the day, did some informational interviews, decided it's more of an ego play than anything else. And so I just created this institute and built a community around it. And so I wanted to start creating events around digital branding. And as you know, I had a chance to speak on some stages at different conferences. And along the way, I've met people that I admired or that I wanted to share or collaborate on content with, and just really friends that are in my network that I know can contribute to the discussion. And so that's really where the Digital Branding Summit came into play.
Fantastic. All right. So it's going to kind of put you on the spot. So I'm going to see if I can pull them up too. But you have 50 presenters over the course of 5 days. Can you share with our listeners and viewers who some of the presenters are, other than yours truly?
First, Megan Powers. But we have, a lot of the thought leaders, practitioners, and influencers, even brand leaders that are going to be on this lineup. So we have people such as Mark Schaefer, Neil Schaefer, Brian Fanzo. Oh my gosh, there's so many other people.
Heidi Cohen, Lee Auden, Dan Genghis. I had to pull it up because it's just so. I looked at this list and I thought, do I belong among these people? This is crazy.
So the thing is, though, I wanted to shape the lineup so we can have different perspectives. along with the experiences that every presenter brings to the table. So we have a YouTube influencer with a thought leader with just a brand leader from LinkedIn and Twitter and so on, and also other practitioners that are just crushing it in the space. So that's really what makes this speaker lineup special at the Digital Branding Summit.
Well, and I appreciate it. And I've talked with Brian Fanzo about this quite a bit. Like, it's hard to get on a stage if people don't let you on stages. Like, it's that whole cart before the horse or whatever thing. And I speak a lot, but just not really in this space. And so it's fun to have an opportunity to talk about my, what kind of my lane is yes, social media marketing, but meetings and events and how marketing plays into all that. So, I'm looking forward to it.
That's what I really, like about the work that you do. In particular, I think it's great to have you as a part of the lineup because it allows us to bring that event perspective when it comes to digital branding. Many things that happen in and around events are surrounded by digital branding, surrounded by digital activations and experiences. They often augment these events that we have in the physical space, right? So I'm really looking forward to your session.
Me too. Am I pre-recorded or am I going to be live? So that was the next thing I want to talk about. It's all online, but we are some of it's pre-recorded and some of it's going to be done live. How does that look? And what's the difference?
Yeah, so essentially, you're going to have a session that you prepare before the summit, and then we'll have all of the attendees for that day have the ability to take notes, get ready to ask questions, things like that. And then all of the speakers for that day would have a live Q&A, which we're going to have through Zoom and through our Facebook group as well.
Fabulous. Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about this platform that you're using to do it? Because I think it's pretty slick. And I already have 131 people signed up for my session, which is like, that's the power of online, right? Like if we were at in person and there were 5,000 people there, the chances that I'd have that many people in my room, might be harder to come by. So
I tell you one thing, that number is certainly going to jump because we haven't even had our major push yet. So those are all the people that are just really excited about hopping on board. But again, I think it's ultimately needed in this space. When you consider digital branding and really what it can do for a business, large or small, it's critical now. I mean, you have the different aspects of digital marketing tactics. You have social media marketing, content marketing, SEO, and so on. But oftentimes, many marketers will silo those digital marketing techniques or tactics, and their customers or their target audience, they don't, right? And so when you think about the experiences that they're having with your brand, it really across those silos, so to speak. And so I want to have people start thinking about that. And again, bringing together some of the key thought leaders, practitioners, and brand leaders to have those discussions and also provide some actionable insight. That's the most important thing, right? I mean, we all go to conferences and it's great for networking and so on. But at the end of the day, we want to say, okay, what have I learned and what can I actually apply the next day when I get into the office, right? So that's where we are hoping all of the speakers focus on, providing that insight and their expertise so they can then really teach our attendees how to strategically think and strategically implement these tactics that you're speaking on.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who thinks that digital is not a big part of what they're doing or what they should be doing, obviously they're totally missing the boat.
Right.
And having your event teams, your offline folks interacting with your online folks is crucial because, and obviously I'm going to talk a lot about this because being on the same page is important. Putting forth a proper brand through your event, whether it's online or a users conference or an internal sales meeting, branding plays into everything. And really having everyone work together. I actually taught a session at the Meeting Professionals International Education Conference last month, or maybe it was November now. What year is it? I don't know.
Like Barbara Walter says, this is 2020.
2020. Yeah. So, and I had someone ask me, and it's something that I say always at the beginning of my talks is like, get your people on the same page. The first thing is to have a plan. And if your event team and your marketing team are not on the same page, then you're going to be in trouble. So this guy has someone in particular in his office who won't let him do anything, even so far as like what he puts in the footer of his email. She won't let him put the link to events in the footer of his email. So it's funny too, because I was like, I kind of got around to, I know that person. I've worked with that person before, but I wish I could help you more. But all I can say is like, try to get everyone on the same page in terms of everything, which is easier said than done, right? Sure. Let's see what Jen says. It's always a great thing when you can return to work the next day and immediately start applying things, for sure. And that's always my tip is for anyone who goes to, especially people who go to World, right? Like just don't try to implement everything all at once. Leave with, all right, I'm going to try to have like 1 to 3 things that I learned today that I could like step into the office and implement tomorrow. I think that helps us from feeling overwhelmed too. Well, and there's going to be a lot of content. I mean, 50.
There's going to be a lot of content. And so what we have done is we have enhanced a lot of the content. We've shrink things down. We have executive summaries and a bunch of playbooks and other assets that people would be able to take with them. So if they don't want to take notes, or if they want to have, a more enhanced experience, we do have all access pass that's available as well. And so we're just doing a lot to really enhance all of the speakers' content. So they'll be able to access that through the all access pass.
So actually, let's talk about that. I had that as my next thing. In terms of pricing and how it works, what's the deal?
Yeah, so essentially, everyone is able to attend the conference for free. And so with the free pass, you'll be able to access rolling 24 hours days of the content. So for example, if you register for the conference or for the summit and it's a Monday, you'll be able to see all the day's content. The only thing is, if you're looking to continue to consume that content or want any of the other content assets, then you can access the all access pass, and they'll have all of the content there available for you for the entire year.
Okay, and it's less than $100, right?
Yes, it's right now it's $97. And I believe that ends next week on the 13th, that price. And so you definitely want to get your tickets as soon as possible, before that time. And then you'll also be able to have a different experience when it comes to Q&A, right? So what I've designed is a Q&A experience where people would be able to hop in and have some face-to-face time with the speakers and ask them their questions, right? And you also have the other speakers throughout that day on that same panel as well. So that's really where the key thing is. Oftentimes based on this lineup, you may not be able to get that face-to-face time to talk about your brand experience or whatever you have learned in their session throughout the day. So, you have that opportunity now. And then with the free pass, you still have the opportunity to view the session, but you'll have to have the all access pass to participate and share your screen and speak with the speakers and so on. So
super smart. All right, so I'm going to, shameless plug, I'm going to drop my link in.
Absolutely.
So if anybody wants to register, use that link. I put the whole summit URL in there as well, but people can register using that link. Okay, so get back to my, what is I'm sorry if you said it, the name of the back end for the tool that you're using to put the summit on?
Yeah, we use Hey Summit.
Oh, okay.
It's called Hey Summit, yeah. And what's interesting is that we actually had our summit completely set up in our CRM. We came across Hey Summit, and it was Hey Summit and another platform that we were looking for sponsorship on. And so we decided we had two that were bidding for the sponsorship, and we had Hey Summit be the winner. It does most things really sleekly. It's really intuitive for the presenter as well as for the attendee, affiliates, so on and so forth. It's all that information is there. The graphics, though, that they create aren't as I don't know. They're kind of an eyesore to me, but that's why we have, our external graphics in a shared folder for all of the speakers. But yeah, no, I think Hey Summit provided a really great experience for a lot of the attendees, and so I know you'll like it.
Yeah. Well, as a speaker already, I think it's pretty badass. And you're right. I was like, I don't know if I want to use that image. So I was glad that you guys did it. But they're close. It's like. And that's one of the things that I preach is including in your contracts and your agreements with your speakers to get them to promote. And the easier you make it for them to promote your show where they're going to be speaking, the better, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Barrier of entry is super, super low on that. So, all right, cool. Okay, so being an events person, I have to ask, what's the one big hairy lesson that you've learned so far in planning this summit?
The lesson I've learned so far in planning is there's so many different layers that you can add on to an event with regard to promotions and partnerships and so on. And it seems like there's not enough time in the day to really get to as many layers as you want. So my lesson ultimately is, to communicate as much as possible and have some time to kind of think and get a bird's eye view of how your event is doing, or even just the general concept of the event and how it's fitting in with whatever's trending, right? So that you can begin to add some additional promotions to that event, right? Based on that trend. So that would be the biggest, I guess, learning lesson, is to try to take some more time and think about what's kind of going on instead of being so into the weeds.
Gotcha.
But I have a good team, though. I'm definitely blessed to have a good team that helps with that process of really, digging down into the weeds and getting a lot of things squared away with the event.
Yeah, well, it's like you have 2 full-time jobs, basically, now. So it'll probably be a relief when it's passed. What played into deciding when you were going to do it?
So that's a good question. So I wanted to do it in a time where people are thinking about building their business. Obviously, the new year, people have New Year's resolution. They have been working on their business or wanting to revamp their strategy. So now is a perfect time. Also, this is usually when there's a lull in conferences, right? And it's usually wintertime, right? So most conferences are usually during the spring and summer. And so we wanted to stay away from that, those physical conferences. And then also it's winter time. Sometimes, people can end up being stuck at the house and, with the snow outside, not really wanting to go, but they can just consume all this content from their desktop or their mobile device. And so that's the best opportunity for us to get as many people aware about the Digital Branding Summit as possible. So that's why we had it on this date.
Right on. Yeah. Is there any thought of taking it offline potentially in the future?
Yes. That was actually our original thought. Okay. But we felt as though summits, in particular virtual summits, are starting to become more popular. People are used to consuming content online. So that's more aligned with our brand. But we are considering a physical conference down the line in the next couple of years or so.
Excellent. Okay, so we just have a couple people watching. Jen Cole, Scott Vitale. Hello, Scott. He's an events guy. Looks like I lost Juntae there. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. So I'll just real quick. There he is. My session is called Using Events to Build Your Digital Brand. And I'm going to drop that link in for anybody who watches this on the replay. Definitely, it'll be in the show notes. All these links will be in the show notes on our blog, on the Making Marketer blog. So what are you looking forward to the most in executing this?
Well, I'm looking forward to the feedback that I get from people. I really want them to view this conference, this summit, as a great way to start off their year. I want people to say, hey, I was able to attend Megan's session and I come up with this great event idea and how I'm going to execute it and really why it's important for my business. And I want to hear some of that feedback. And I really am looking forward to viewing all of the social media engagements that happen around the event. We actually have a event sponsor, Brand Mentions. And so it's a tool that obviously helps you to manage your brand mentions. And, we utilize that tool to see all the conversations that's happening around the event. And so really looking forward to seeing all those engagements.
Fabulous. All right. Mm-hmm. And so you're a marketer. So yes. Outside of this, what do you think is the what's going to be the big emerging trend? We know like video for the last 3 years, right? And video is definitely not going away. Is there something that you're seeing, whether in education or just in marketing in general, that you think is emerging?
Well, I mean, just the blanket answer would be, AI. It would be maybe even some wearable technology, gaming, things like that. I mean, that's really the sort of overarching, trend. But what's more prevalent to, the average Joe, so to speak, would be live streaming. And I think live streaming is really emerging based on, what the different social networks are doing with live streaming. Of course, LinkedIn now has the live stream in beta. And so I'm sure many of you people have, saw a live stream on your timeline through LinkedIn. So you have that, as well as groups and communities are also important. So I think, for the average person, live streaming and groups or communities would be what's certainly emerging. And I think all of the momentum that these social networks are putting behind those functions are just evidence of that.
For sure. No question. Yeah. And I think the one-to-one that comes out of that is big too. Messaging. So chat, text, text is big, but you have to do it right. I have an example. So I am, those of you who are watching can't see, but I'm wearing my 49ers, or who aren't watching.
I mean, it's okay. My Raiders are out.
So I'm going to Santa Clara for our game against the Vikings on Saturday. Nice. And but in October, once I realized kind of the path that the 49ers were going down, I booked a hotel every weekend of all three of the playoff weekends.
You're a fan. You're a super fan.
I have season tickets. So, so I knew I was going to be going. Like we, I committed to my tickets in advance of the season to get a discount, which is awesome. Yeah. But I canceled because we didn't have to play the wild card weekend. So I canceled, but this hotel that I had booked through a booking service, their text was not in sync with their like reservation system didn't catch up with the cancellation. And so I kept getting texts from them to review my stay. And I'm like, people, seriously, like, how do you not and especially because it happened again yesterday. And I said, I already went through this last night, like look back through. So anyway, text is awesome when you do it right, but
text is awesome. And I think that's really where, you're going to get most of, or an increased level of engagement. I think I read a stat somewhere saying that you get about up to like 13 to 23% engagement via email. And I think through text, it's like upwards of like 70 something percent. And of course, you have the saying that marketers ruin everything, right? So hopefully we'll get to the point where, we really won't exhaust the novelty that is of text messaging and having immediate access to people and their mobile devices and so on, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that happens, but I think it's if you are not focused on text messaging or SMS messaging, you're missing out.
Yeah,
as a
or chat
for sure.
even too. Yeah.
In chat,
Yeah.
even, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, all right. So I bit on the Gary V text me
Okay.
thing. So I did. And he said, you know, it was automatic response. He said, but after this, it'll be personally me. And turns out, like, I know I could tell he's sending everyone these canned messages because I'm replying, and he's not replying to me based on what I'm saying back. He's just replying with this next, you're awesome, you can do it, you know, all these like motivational, which I think is super cute.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to unsubscribe.
Well, at least you know how it works now, right?
Yeah. Speaking of that, I have a friend who I became her best friend because she said, I keep getting these texts from retailers and she didn't know how to make it stop. And I said, well, first of all, they should tell you in there how. It should always, they should always tell you how to and I said, just hit unsubscribe. She's like, what? I go, yeah, I typed unsubscribe and it said, you've been unsubscribed. She's like, I changed your life. That's really funny.
It's either that or just text the word stop.
Yeah.
And you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I think you're right. There's definitely room to ruin it. And hopefully we won't. So, okay. Jen Cole has a question for you. What does success look like for you? And I'm assuming that she doesn't mean in general of the scale of the world, but maybe your the summit.
Okay. Yeah. So again, what success looks like for us is we would be able to, again, identify people who have gone to the summit and have said that they were successful in doing something. So their success is our success, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, that stuff is actually really important because that's how you build communities, right? And that's how you keep people coming back. If they're able to consume your content and your content makes them successful, then in turn, you're going to be successful because you're now that resource for that person and potentially to their audience. And that's why it's important to be on live streams or to collaborate on content and things like that, because those are relationships that are being built. Like, you know, it's good to sit down, and I really haven't had a chance to sit down and converse with Megan, but it's like, it's a perfect opportunity to do it live, you know, now, and we're recording the podcast and so on, also building that rapport as well. So, I mean, this is really what success looks like for us, for sure.
Fabulous. Okay, so we're going to finish on the question I like to ask every guest is, what are you hot on these days in terms of tech, gadgets, apps? Doesn't have to be new, but what's making your life easier right now, or more fun, or whatever that.
You know, I think AppSumo, I think is something that, and this is probably so old to people, but you know, I think ultimately just getting abreast of all the new tools that are coming out. So you'll be able to obviously access some of the beta versions of these tools at extremely discounted price for usually lifetime membership or lifetime access to these tools. And I think they've come out with some pretty interesting things that is worth investing in, just to, you know, seeing if it kind of pans out. And most of the time, a lot of the people have the opportunity to provide feedback as they continue to build and enhance their app or their service. So I think that's really, and there's a couple other tools that are like, I think Product Hunt is also another one, but yeah, I would highly recommend people check out those to get those types of tools.
Well, and AppSumo is like, they've got all the data, right? Like they're sharing some really, if I remember correctly, unless I'm thinking of a different company, some pretty incredible insights into what's working for people and what people are wanting to do and use and see and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, well, and it's funny you mentioned the AI. I was a guest on a podcast recently called Sales Babble, and I talked about face-to-face, using face-to-face to build relationships. You know, conferences specifically, in and online obviously works as well, but that kind of that difference that face-to-face can have. And just basically, I just went through my whole, when I worked in sales, what all my thing was. Anyway, he called me and it said, maybe Pat Helmers. And so I said, hey, Pat. And he said, oh, I thought, and I said, we were just talking about how kind of creepy it is. I said, well, because it pulled it from my email. It didn't even, he had never called me before. And he goes, oh yeah, that is creepy. But it's also useful, right, too, because what if I didn't want to talk to him?
Right.
Then I would know. But we all are getting so many robocalls now. I don't know about you, but I'm getting them like every hour.
Yes. I actually have a trick for that, and you
good.
may or may not know. But so essentially, there's apps that you can download, and sometimes you have to pay premium for that. But I just put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and then only allow contacts that are in my phone to come through. Yeah, excellent. And I have an Android. I'm Team Android. Woohoo! Okay. But I think Apple should have that similar feature.
Yeah, no, that's actually I like that. Very good. Okay, well, we are at time. It goes fast, and I appreciate you coming on, and I'm so happy that I'm able to work with you, and that I am a part of the Digital Branding Summit, the inaugural DBS.
Absolutely.
All right,
we're excited to have you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and everyone who watched or is watching on the replay on Facebook or YouTube, thank you. Thanks, Jen and Scott and anyone else who hopped on the live. We appreciate you participating. And all right, so this has been episode 47 of Making a Marketer, and we will catch you next time.